up? What's up? Welcome to the new episode of the Miles Hype Podcast. This is Miles Monroe Jr., your host. And as always, the vision and goal of this podcast is to entertain, educate, and elevate you miles high above your fear, your doubts, and any limitations that you may think exist. Always knowing that those limitations only exist in your mind. All right. Hope everyone is good today. We started off with a very deep debate off camera, off. I can talk about what we was debating just now, but we have a very lively crew in here today. And it kind of it pivots to the subject I want to talk about today, and that subject is mentorship. I think mentorship is super important. I think it's something that, you know, regardless of where you are in life, how successful you are, or how successful you've become, everyone should be mentored or have a mentor or be submitting to some sort of mentorship, right? And to start off, I want to just give a basic definition of mentoring, right? Mentoring is any form of learning where someone with more experience helps and guides the learning and growth of someone else with less experience, right? Really simple definition. Basically, it's just someone who is experienced in a field or in life or profession, in an industry, who is teaching someone else and helping them learn and grow in a field or in life or in whatever sector of, you know, the country or the industry that they want to be mentored in or what they want to learn about. That person is helping them through that growth process, right? Every person should seek mentorship. Mentoring really encourages development, but it also encourages accountability. And I think accountability is something that a lot of us are lacking, right? Because we aren't submitted to an authoritative figure. And I think that's what mentoring does, right? It allows us to identify someone that we want to help us to grow as individuals, and then we submit to their mentorship, right? Submit to their authority, submit to their correction, submit to their advice and opinions of, you know, what we should do, how we should do it, and what we need to work on. So mentoring is the transfer of durable things, right? And when I say durable things, I'm talking things like vision, things like passion, things like character, things like wisdom, right? These are the transfer of these durable things from one individual, one experienced individual, to another in the learning and in the growing process. Mentoring is about training and preparing for the future. It's not about, keeping someone stagnant or stable where they are, but it's training them and preparing them to propel themselves into their desired future. And usually, mentoring encompasses discovering something that you want to do or deciding on something that you want to do, knowing that you can't do it alone, and finding someone to help you through the process, right? So, I've really taken on this mentoring thing as an intentional thing, as an important thing for me. And I've found and identified mentors in all facets of my life, right? My personal life, I have personal mentors who assist me with my personal growth within my marriage, growth with my personal development. I have professional mentors who assist me in my business endeavors and everything that I want to do there. And then I have spiritual mentors who also assist me in continuing to build and grow my spiritual life. So I think in every aspect of our life, we should look for qualified mentors or individuals who are able to mentor us in those areas. I think it's very important. And when we're talking about the type of mentor that we should look for, or who should we deem as mentors, it should be an individual, like I just said, who's qualified. And by qualified, I'm talking about someone who's been tested, right? Tested in the area that you want to seek growth in. Someone who, if you want to be mentored in business, usually you find someone who's successful in the industry that you are seeking to break ground in, right? Or if you want to be a lawyer or a doctor, or like you find professionals who are successful in these various fields, and you seek mentorship from them, because these individuals have already gone through it, right? They've gone through the process. They've experienced a lot of things. So a lot of the things that they can help you with are things that they've gone through, and hopefully they can help you not go through, and really have not an easier way or easier process to success, but it's just more of a sustainable process, right? They can teach you the mistakes that they have made, and talk you through the mistakes that you could possibly make. So they should be qualified. The next thing is mentors should be patient and tolerant. And I think this is important, right? Because I know I can remember me being mentored by my dad, right? And man, if you guys knew me, 15 years ago, I was a very headstrong person, right? Felt like I knew it all, had it all figured out.
What?
So I still am. My wife trying to diss me. So yes, it's I could say the same thing about you.
Absolutely.
So I think all of us, we have a sense of this feeling that like we know it all, right? And I have to continually remind myself of the fact that I don't know it all, that I still have a lot of learning to do, and will always have learning to do, right? I always want to continue to open myself to be a learner, right? To want to be educated in every aspect of my life, because I never want to be someone that is finished learning, to be like, okay, I'm done now. I'm super successful in all these areas. I don't need to learn anymore. I don't need to be mentored anymore. No, I don't care where I am in life, how old I am in life. I want to always submit myself to some form of mentorship. And like like I was saying, like I was a very headstrong person. My dad was super patient with me. I think he understood like this process that most mentees go through, where they have to learn how to submit, right? You may desire to submit or say you're going to submit, but there has to be a learning process with the submission. And sometimes the mentor would tell you to do something or not do something that you don't agree with. And you have to trust it, right? You have to trust that mentor has your best interest at heart. So it has to be someone that you respect wholeheartedly. But the mentor being patient and being tolerant of mentees, because it's a give and take when it comes to mentoring, right? The mentor has to really understand who the person is that they're mentoring, and the mentee has to understand who the mentor is, right? And the type of mentoring that they do. So patience and tolerance is very important. The next thing is the mentor should always show recognition, right? You praise and encourage the mentee for accomplishments, no matter how simple, no matter how trivial the accomplishment may be. You have to show recognition, right? And even when you're in a network or you're in a public space, recognize the individual that you're mentoring. It gives growth to them. It exposes them to these different environments, these different individuals, these different networks. So it's something that mentors should always do when it comes to mentoring. And this one is my favorite. Mentors should always develop and not manage. I think that's very important. You should always find a mentor that is developing you, right? They aren't managing you. They aren't micromanaging and over everything that you do and trying to make sure that you don't, make a mistake, right? You are perfect in everything that you do. No, mentors are supposed to allow you to be free in making your choices, and then develop you through those choices, good or bad. So development is more important when it comes to mentoring than management, and you should find a mentor that is more so a developer and not really a manager in the sense of mentoring. The next thing is a mentor should release their authority, right? And in other words, they need to delegate, right? Mentors shouldn't always be doing everything. They should allow the mentor to have some responsibility. And I think this is important because this is something that really helped me develop in my professional life. My dad would have given me some tasks to do. And even my mentors now, right? They give me things to do. They give me the freedom and the release to do these things, right? They give me the authority to do things and have larger and more responsibility than I would have had in the past. And they delegate work to me and then trust me to do what it is that I'm supposed to do. A mentor can't be someone who always wants to have control over the mentoring situation, right? And you want to make sure that this mentor or mentee doesn't make any mistakes. I think mistakes are inevitable, especially in the process of mentorship. And I think mistakes are good, to be honest, because this is how we learn. This is how we develop as individuals. So mentors should always be releasing their authority and delegating assignments, delegating work to the mentees. The next thing is, very important as well, mentors should be honest with their correction. I know I appreciated and still appreciate my mentors every time they correct me. And even, the correction could be subtle sometimes and could be nice. And then if the correction needs to be stern and straightforward, I appreciate that too. But they need to be honest either way, right? Be honest about the correction. Don't think that you are helping this person if you're just not being honest or not telling the truth about something that you as a mentor disagree with or don't disagree with, right? And as mentees, I want to speak to you guys as well. You have to submit yourself to the correction and be able to accept it. Know that the mentor has your best interest at heart, right? But as a mentee looking for a mentor, you want to find someone who is always going to be honest with you, always going to be honest about the correction that they're giving you, the guidance that they're giving you, and any instructions that you're being given. Honesty is key. The next thing is they provide learning opportunities. And I appreciate all of my mentors for this, right? They allow me in rooms that, I wouldn't normally be in, right? Whether it's a meeting or a seminar or any environment where I wouldn't regularly find myself in, they allow opportunities for learning. And as much learning opportunities as a mentor can provide and allow, I think they should, because a lot of the times mentoring doesn't really have a lot to do with what you're saying. It has a lot to do with observation. I was mentored so much more in being able to be in certain rooms, be in certain meetings, and just observing, right? Observing the conversations, observing the management of different personalities, observing the management of different business practices, observing the management of different tendencies with, someone's personal life and how they manage their family or manage their wives, right? So these different learning opportunities could be as simple as inviting your mentee over for dinner, right? The mentor inviting them over for dinner with their family. And that basically shows, this individual, like, this is how I communicate and socialize with my family, with my wife or my husband, with my kids, with our extended family. Like, you allow the mentee to see and observe these things because it trains them and teaches them how to develop in their personal life as well. From a professional standpoint, you allow opportunities for mentees to, take trips with you, to sit in meetings with you, to listen to you on, particular business calls or calls all together. I think all of these opportunities that mentees are given or allowed to take part in with mentors is a great way for mentoring to happen. I think it's super. It's these simple things that can go a long way, right? Obviously, other opportunities like sending them to seminars, giving them books, sending them articles to read, like these different things that most mentors do on an ongoing basis. I think it should be done in addition to allowing mentees to even have these opportunities from a personal aspect, right? And having access to the mentor's personal life and personal resources as well. And then you also want to identify a mentor that just lets go, right? Allows you to be who you are and to learn how you want to learn and how you're capable of learning. You don't want a mentee who is always trying to hold on to you and not wanting you to leave, not wanting you to grow as an individual, not wanting you to evolve in your profession or in your spiritual life, right? You always want a mentor who encourages leaving the coop, so to speak, right? The bird coop. You know, you want a mentor who allows you to spread your wings and discover this world, man. Like you know, fly and figure some things out on your own, right? And as the learning process continues, right, and decisions are made, whether they're good or bad, you're constantly, you know, connecting back with the mentor and having conversations and discussions about, you know, what has transpired, what could have been done better, what was good about what you did, what they might have done, and then certain recommendations on how to maybe fix things moving forward. So the relationship between the mentee and the mentor is a very unique one, right? I've said this particular story a few times, and it's just describing how my dad initially started to become my mentor. And it wasn't until I was in my mid-20s, right? You would think someone of my dad's caliber, I would, you know, allow and accept him as a mentor from early on in life. But that wasn't the case for me, right? It was just different. And he was my father my entire life, but wasn't solidified as my mentor until about my mid-20s. And that was because, you know, my dad was, you know, very capable of mentoring me, open to mentoring me, but the decision was on me to submit myself to his mentorship, right? To identify him as a mentor and specifically submit to his mentorship. And that was even a process that I had to learn, right? So the mentoring process has to be an agreement between both the mentee and the mentor, right? It can't just be the mentor saying, hey, I want to mentor you, and, you know, the mentee may be feeling like, no, I don't want to be a mentor to you. I don't want you to be a mentor to me. But, you know, kind of feeling, I guess, a sense of obligation, or the mentor feeling a sense of entitlement. You know, I've had that experience once before, right? I had this person interested in mentoring me in a particular area of my life, and I didn't ask for the mentorship, right? And, you know, to be quite honest, didn't want this mentorship from this individual, and it just, you know, just made for an uncomfortable conversation. And that happens sometimes, right? And it just has to be a mutual agreement between the mentee and the mentor. They identify each other, they have a conversation, and, you know, if I'm a mentee and I want mentoring from a particular individual, I would request this individual to be a mentor to me. And I have to get an answer from this individual. It has to be a yes answer. And if it isn't a yes, then, you know, we move on. No hard feelings. You know, it may not be the right time in the mentor's life where they have the space and opportunity to do the mentorship that I'm requesting. So you simply just move on, right? Not every mentor that you desire is going to be a mentor that you are able to get. And that's just life, right? I think we as individuals seeking mentorship need to look in more than just one area for mentoring, because we could be mentored in so many ways. You know, I've met individuals who have been mentored by my dad, but has never met my dad, has never had a conversation with him, right? They were mentored through his books, mentored through his teachings, mentored through ways where, you know, direct contact wasn't necessary. And even in that, I think, in addition to doing that, you should still find persons that you can contact and speak to on an ongoing basis for that mentorship. So you have to find a mentor who wants to be your mentor, and then the mentor has to find a mentee that wants to be mentored by the mentor. And then you have to find that both of the visions of the mentoring are going to align, right? Like, I'm coming to you for mentorship because these are the things that I want to achieve. These are the reasons why I'm seeking you out as a mentor. And, you know, that has to be a cohesive agreement, something that the mentor sees and agrees with, and is able to extend their time and their energy and their resources to you as a mentor, in alignment with the vision that you have, and in the development that you would like to achieve. The mentee, which is important, must submit to the mentor. Can't tell you how important this step is. Submission is probably the most important step in mentoring, because there are going to be times where, like I said earlier, you're not going to agree with, maybe what the mentor is asking you to do or telling you to do, or asking you to read or not read or stop doing, like all of these things and suggestions and instructions that you're going to get. You may not agree with all of them, but because you're submitting to the mentorship, you're going to follow through with the request. And most of the time, the mentor has the mentee's best interest at heart. Maybe it's hard for you to see. Think of it as a parent raising a child, right? And you have certain instructions that you give your kids, or as kids, certain instructions we receive and we hate it and we don't agree with it. But in the future, or as some time passes, you're able to understand, okay, I understand why my parents didn't want me to do this. And you gain a greater appreciation for the person and the choices and the instructions that they give. So you should always, as a mentee, be submissive to the mentoring of the individual. Then you just pick a starting point, right? You pick a point where you want to start. And as the mentor, like I said, you give them access to your time and resources. You have to open up your life, in a sense, to the mentee. I don't think you're capable of mentoring someone if you're not going to allow them in your personal space. Especially if we're talking about like personal mentorship and professional mentorship. Like, allow them in that space of the business that connects directly to the mentoring that they want to receive. Or in the personal life, allow them in your personal life that is going to assist them in developing that aspect of their personal life. I think it's just the time and access that you're able to give and provide for mentees. I'm speaking to mentors. The time and access you're able to give them is important for them and their development. Right? You can't be selfish about your time. You can't be selfish about your resources. Now, I'm not saying to extend yourself over and beyond like what you're comfortable with. But there has to be a level of access that they're able to get from you. And then you give the mentees the freedom, right, to make the choices and the decisions that they want to make. But as a mentor, you're giving them correction and recognition wherever necessary. We're not perfect as human beings. We're all going to make mistakes. I can't tell you the amount of times I had to go back to my dad and apologize and saying, sorry, I didn't listen to you on this, or I didn't even seek your advice on this. And as a mentor, you understand, right? Because you know that people want to do for themselves. As much as you're there to help, some things they're just going to kind of do for themselves. Don't take it personal as a mentor. Just know that that's a part of the process. And as mentees, just know that your mentor is always there to assist you and help you in the areas that you want to be assisted. I think it's important to always keep that door open, right? And keep the line of communication open. And whenever necessary, calls can be made or appointments can be had where you can get together first face to face to have conversations about the mentoring process. And then at the end of the day, trust the process, right? Trust the process of the mentoring that has been given from the mentor, and for mentees, the process that you're going through with the mentorship. I think a lot of times, people are being mentored, and you have these persons who are doing the mentoring who don't want to release the individual, right? Don't want to allow them to go and grow and develop in the areas that they've been getting mentored in. I know it takes time. It is a process, but part of the process is allowing them to do for themselves, right? And I think the greatest mentor of all time, comes from the life book, right? And he gives us freedom of choice, right? We have the choice to choose whatever we want to do, right? Make any decisions that we want to make. But hopefully we're seeking the advice from our spiritual father, our creator. And that in the same light, we should be seeking advice from our human mentors, our physical mentors, the individuals that we've identified and submitted ourselves to for mentorship. Mentoring is important. It's something that, like I said, something that we should we should always be doing. I don't care how old you are, how successful you are. There should always be someone that you're submitting yourself to, because you always want to put yourself under some type of authority, so that you can be held accountable for everything. All right. So I just wanted to talk about the importance of mentorship, right? Because people ask me all the time, like, man, how do I find a mentor? Or they ask me to mentor them. And, some of them I accept and do, and some I don't, because, the timing may not be right. The logistics may not be good, right? Maybe someone who is far away, or I'm just not capable of doing the mentoring at the time. But there are so many ways that we can seek and achieve mentorship. And we should always be seeking mentorship. Mentoring is important. And also, I think it's good to point out as mentees, you should always ensure that the person that is mentoring you also has a mentor, right? Because that shows someone who also wants to be held accountable. Accountability is key, man. I think it keeps us honest. It keeps us growing as individuals. And once we put ourselves in alignment with that authoritative figure who is going to continue to help us grow and build in all aspects of our lives, I think the better individuals that we can be, right? We could be in our personal lives, we could be in our professional lives, and the better individuals we could be in our spiritual lives. All right. So this is a portion of the pod where I leave with you a milestone. And as you know, milestones are always things that I want to give you, just some content, some quotes, good advice, for you to apply to your daily lives, right? And this is something that's super simple, something that is personal to me, this particular milestone. And it's simply, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. You're never going to find a mentor or a teacher until you as a student, you're ready. Again, going back to my mentoring story, or the beginning of my mentoring story, my mentor was always around. My dad was always there. But not until I was ready as the student or as the mentee did he really give me access as him being a mentor. Not until I identified him and requested him to be a mentor to me, and I submitted myself to him. It wasn't until then that, the teacher appeared. So try to be a student much earlier in life, and always continue to be students, right? In every aspect of your life, you're always going to need to learn and educate yourself and develop yourself in those areas. And as long as we continue being students, we'll always find the teachers that we need. Okay? So that brings us to the end of this particular pod. Hopefully this was informative for you. This is something that I really think is truly important in finding mentors and being mentored and continuing to develop in all aspects of our lives. And these are just some points and tips that I wanted to share with you today. All right, as always, the goal and vision of this pod is to entertain, educate, and elevate you miles high above your fears, your doubts, and any limitations that you may think exist, always knowing that those limitations only exist in your mind. All right, until next time, you guys stay blessed.